How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Hungry Guy Cooking. In today's video I will be making the sweet and sour pork from the Makan Cookbook by Elzabeth Haigh. I am looking for three things from this dish: a balanced sweet and sour sauce, crispy and juicy pork, and when you try both of them together they should be elevating each other. It comes recommended by both Uncle Roger and Sorted Food, so it should be good. In terms of the ingredients, there was nothing too difficult to obtain except for the chilies. Elzabeth specifies Dutch chilies, however I was unable to find them in any shop, so I just settled for any other red chili that was mild. She also specified the chili sauce in her recipe, however she didn't specify which chili sauce you should get, so I'm just using a sriracha chili sauce. Anyway, let's just get into it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is chop your pork shoulder into 2.5 cm cubes. A great tip to make cutting meats easier is to chill them in the freezer for 30 minutes to an hour, so that they firm up and have more structure when cutting. Next, you want to mix up your marinade ingredients, add it to your meat and sprinkle over the cornflour. Give it a good mix and pop it in the fridge for at least 15 minutes. I kept mine in the fridge for 30. So far so good, the recipe is nice and simple. While your meat is marinating, prepare your sauce mix and the slurry by mixing all the ingredients together and set aside to use for later. Now is also a good time to prepare the garnish. Elzabeth didn't specify when to prep it in her recipe, so doing it while your meat is marinating is ideal. Another good tip is to have a bowl for all your waste, so that you can maintain a clean worktop and clean up faster. Cut your tomatoes and onions into wedges, basically cut them in half and then into fours. Chop your green onions into 2.5 cm pieces. I read this part incorrectly and just finely diced mine. Don't worry too much about how you will cut them, as this won't have too much impact on the end result. Julienne your chili, in other words cut them into fine strips. De-seed and finely slice your cucumber. Don't worry if you leave a couple of the seeds on. Also, do not throw the seeds away. They are a great and refreshing snack. Grab a pan in which you can do some deep frying and start preheating your oil to 170 degrees Celsius 10 minutes before you take your meat out of the fridge. Set up a dredging station and coat your pork chunks in corn flour. Here is where I had some issues with the recipe. Elzabeth writes that they should be fried until lightly golden, but doesn't give any time windows, and there is little change in color throughout the frying, so it was difficult to judge when they were done. I've ended up overcooking my first batch as I fried them for 6 minutes. My last batch was the juiciest but still slightly over. They were frying for 4 minutes, so 3 minutes should be enough. If in doubt, check the internal temperature of your pork with a thermometer. Then came the time to deep fry them a second time, and Elzabeth again doesn't specify any timings. I fried mine for 1 minute and 30 seconds to get a slightly darker color on them. To keep them warm while I prepared the sauce, I popped them into a preheated oven at 50 degrees Celsius. I switched it off when I've popped the pork in. A good tip to keep your foods warm while you prepare other parts of your meal is to use your oven if you can, but be careful, as some foods are very delicate and the oven heat might be too much for them. Last thing was making the sauce. No issues here except for some jailbreakers that wanted to avoid their fate. Use a couple tablespoons of your deep frying oil to stir fry your onions. Add your sauce mixture once the onions have softened, bring it to boil, and gradually add your cornflour slurry until you get the desired consistency. If you pop all of it at once, it may come out too thick and you will have a sad time. It's finally time to serve. My plating wasn't too appealing for this one, as I went for the mountain method and got the sauce everywhere. But it was worth it, as some cool photos came out of it. You can top your pork with the garnish, or you can serve it on a separate plate so that everyone gets as much as they need. It's finally time to eat. As you can see, we have ended up with a beautiful mountain of fried pork in a sweet and sour sauce. Let's first try the pork without any sauce. The pork is nice and juicy and the cornflour coating is there, however it's not as crispy as I have hoped. Let's try the sauce by itself. The sauce is slightly mild, however it is well balanced. I was actually a little skeptical when it came to the sauce, as it used the HP sauce, which I honestly hate. However, it turned out very nicely. Okay, it's time to try the pork and the sauce together, and hopefully we will see some elevation. Let's... The pork and the sauce combine very well together and they elevate each other. The sauce takes off the salty edge from the pork, whereas the pork counteracts the spiciness you feel in the sauce. Okay, let's try it with some garnish and with some chili to add it an additional kick. Ooh, spicy chili. The raw tomato and cucumber play very nicely with the pork and the sauce and add freshness to a bite. I was worried that the pork would be dry and tough on the inside, however it remained nice and moist. On the other hand, the pieces are way too large. I will be definitely going for a third of this size next time I will be making them, just so that they are covered in the sauce nicely and you can take them in a single bite. Overall, we have a sweet and sour sauce which is balanced. We do have soft pork, however, it is not crispy, so only a half finger here. And they do elevate each other. The overall score is 4 out of 5. It's very simple to make and it's very tasty, and you can scale it up easily to how many people you need to serve. Points need to be deducted for the size of the pork. I mean, it's debatable if it's my fault or the fault of the instructions in the cookbook. My fiancé, which is much smaller, is not able to have a bite of the pork and the garnish at the same time because that's just too much for her in a single bite. You can find the ingredients in the description as well as the link to Elzabeth's book. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like below. If you didn't, let me know in the comments. Bye for now. And the pork takes off that